Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, in a dense and beautiful forest, there lived three bears. They were a happy family. There was Papa Bear, who was very big and strong. He had thick, brown fur and a deep voice. There was Mama Bear, who was medium sized and gentle. She had soft, golden brown fur and a kind voice. Lastly, there was Baby Bear, who was small and playful. He had light brown fur and a high pitched, cheerful voice. They all lived together in a cozy little house made of wood. The house was very comfortable and had everything they needed. One sunny morning, the three bears decided to have breakfast. Mama Bear made a big pot of delicious porridge. She poured the porridge into three bowls: a big bowl for Papa Bear, a medium bowl for Mama Bear, and a small bowl for Baby Bear. The porridge smelled so good that it made their mouths water. However, when they tried to eat it, the porridge was too hot. Papa Bear said, "This porridge is too hot. We need to let it cool down," Mama Bear suggested. "Why don't we go for a walk in the forest while the porridge cools down?" Baby Bear was very excited about this idea. He loved going for walks and playing among the trees and flowers. So the three bears put on their hats and went outside. They started their walk, leaving their cozy home behind. While the bears were walking in the forest, a little girl named Goldilocks was also out exploring. Goldilocks had golden hair that shone brightly in the sunlight. She was very curious and loved to discover new things. That day, she wandered deeper into the forest than usual. She enjoyed the fresh air and the sound of birds singing in the trees. As she walked, she saw many interesting things: colorful flowers, tall trees, and small animals. She was having a wonderful time. Goldilocks walked and walked until she came across a little house. She had never seen this house before. Her curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to take a closer look. She walked up to the house and noticed that the door was slightly open. Goldilocks peeked inside and saw that no one was home. She knew that it was not polite to enter someone else's house without permission, but she was very curious. She thought, "I'll just take a quick look inside. It won't hurt anyone." Goldilocks slowly pushed the door open and stepped inside. The first thing she saw was a table with three bowls of porridge. She was very hungry from her long walk, and the porridge smelled so good. She decided to taste it. She tried the porridge in the big bowl first. "Ouch! This porridge is too hot," she exclaimed. Next, she tried the porridge in the medium bowl. "Yuck! This porridge is too cold," she said. Finally, she tried the porridge in the small bowl. This porridge is just right," she said happily. She ate all the porridge in the small bowl until it was empty. After eating the porridge, Goldilocks felt a little tired. She looked around and saw three chairs near the fireplace. She decided to sit down and rest for a while. First, she sat in the big chair. "This chair is too big," she said. Then she sat in the medium chair. "This chair is too big too," she said. Finally, she sat in the small chair. "Ah, this chair is just right," she said with a smile. But Goldilocks was too heavy for the small chair. It broke into pieces, and she fell to the floor. "Oh no," she cried. "I broke the chair." Goldilocks stood up and dusted herself off. She felt even more tired now and wanted to lie down. She went upstairs to the bedroom. In the bedroom, there were three beds. She decided to try them all. First, she lay down on the big bed. "This bed is too hard," she said. Next, she lay down on the medium bed. "This bed is too soft," she said. Finally, she lay down on the small bed. Ah, this bed is just right, she said with a yawn. Goldilocks felt so comfortable that she fell asleep immediately. Meanwhile, the three bears were returning from their walk. They had enjoyed their time in the forest. They listened to the birds, picked some berries, and enjoyed the fresh air. When they arrived home, they were ready to eat their porridge. But as soon as they entered the house, they noticed something was wrong. Papa Bear looked at his bowl and said, "Someone has been eating my porridge." His deep voice was filled with surprise. Mama Bear looked at her bowl and said, "Someone has been eating my porridge too." Her gentle voice sounded concerned. Baby Bear looked at his empty bowl and cried, "Someone has eaten all my porridge." His voice was sad and a little angry. The three bears decided to look around the house. They wanted to find out who had been in their home. They walked into the living room and saw the three chairs. Papa Bear looked at his big chair and said, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." Mama Bear looked at her medium chair and said, "Someone has been sitting in my chair too." Baby Bear looked at his broken chair and cried, "Someone has broken my chair." He felt very upset. Next, the bears went upstairs to the bedroom. Papa Bear looked at his big bed and said, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed." Mama Bear looked at her medium bed and said, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed too." Baby Bear looked at his small bed and saw Goldilocks sleeping there. He cried, "Someone is sleeping in my bed." Goldilocks woke up when she heard Baby Bear's voice. She was very surprised and a little scared. She saw the three bears standing around her. She jumped out of bed and ran down the stairs. She ran out of the house as fast as she could. She ran through the forest until she was back in her own home. She promised herself that she would never enter someone else's house without permission again. The three bears looked at each other and shook their heads. They were not happy that Goldilocks had eaten their porridge, broken their chair, and slept in their beds. But they were kind bears and they decided to forgive her. They fixed Baby Bear's chair and made more porridge. They also made sure to lock their door when they went out for a walk next time. Goldilocks learned an important lesson that day. She learned to respect other people's property and to always ask for permission. She never forgot her adventure in the house of the three bears. From that day on, she was more careful and considerate. And so Goldilocks and the three bears continued to live their lives happily in the beautiful forest. They never had another problem, and they always remembered the day they met. As time passed, Goldilocks grew older and wiser. She often thought about her adventure in the forest and the kind bears who lived there. She wanted to make amends for her actions, so one day she decided to bake some cookies and take them to the bears as a peace offering. She carefully mixed the ingredients, rolled the dough, and baked the cookies until they were golden brown and delicious. She placed the cookies in a basket and set off for the bear's house. When Goldilocks arrived at the bear's house, she knocked on the door. This time she waited for an answer. Mama Bear opened the door and was surprised to see Goldilocks standing there with a basket of cookies. "Hello, Mrs. Bear," Goldilocks said politely. "I baked these cookies for you to say sorry for what I did before. I hope you can forgive me." Mama Bear smiled warmly and invited Goldilocks inside. "Thank you, Goldilocks. That is very kind of you," she said. Papa Bear and Baby Bear joined them in the living room. Goldilocks handed the basket of cookies to Baby Bear, who looked very happy. "These look delicious." "Thank you, Goldilocks," he said with a big smile. The bears and Goldilocks sat down together and enjoyed the cookies. They talked and laughed, sharing stories and getting to know each other better. Goldilocks felt very happy and relieved that the bears had forgiven her. She realized that kindness and honesty could mend broken relationships. From that day on, Goldilocks and the three bears became good friends. Goldilocks often visited the bears, bringing them treats and playing with Baby Bear. They went on walks in the forest together, picking berries and enjoying the beauty of nature. Goldilocks also learned a lot from the bears about the forest and how to live in harmony with nature. One day, while walking in the forest, Goldilocks and the bears found a little bird with a broken wing. The bird was lying on the ground, unable to fly. "Oh no, the poor bird is hurt," said Goldilocks with concern. "We need to help it." Papa Bear gently picked up the bird and said, "Let's take it back to our house. We can take care of it until it gets better." Goldilocks and the bears carefully carried the bird back to their house. Mama Bear made a soft bed for the bird and wrapped its wing with a bandage. They gave the bird some water and seeds to eat. Over the next few days, Goldilocks and the bears took turns caring for the little bird. They made sure it was comfortable and safe. The bird slowly regained its strength, and its wing began to heal. Goldilocks felt very happy knowing that they had helped the bird recover. Finally, the day came when the bird was ready to fly again. Goldilocks and the bears took the bird outside. "Are you ready to fly?" little bird Goldilocks asked. The bird chirped happily and flapped its wings. It flew up into the sky, singing a joyful song. Goldilocks and the bears waved goodbye to the bird, feeling proud of what they had done. Goldilocks and the bears continued to have many adventures together. They learned from each other and grew closer as friends. Goldilocks always remembered the important lessons she had learned to be kind, respectful, and considerate of others. She knew that her friends, the three bears, would always be there for her. One winter, the forest was covered in a thick blanket of snow. The trees sparkled with frost, and the air was crisp and cold. Goldilocks and the bears loved the winter season. They enjoyed building snowmen, having snowball fights, and sliding down the hills on their sleds. One day, they decided to have a special winter picnic. Goldilocks and the bears prepared for the picnic by making hot chocolate and packing sandwiches, cookies, and fruit. They found a beautiful spot in the forest where the snow was untouched and glistening under the winter sun. They spread out a blanket on the snow and sat down to enjoy their meal. The hot chocolate warmed their hands and their hearts as they sipped it slowly. As they ate, they talked about their favorite winter activities and shared stories about their past adventures. Baby Bear was especially excited to tell Goldilocks about the time he built the biggest snowman in the forest. "It was taller than Papa Bear," he exclaimed, making everyone laugh. After their picnic, they decided to play some games in the snow. They built a big snowman together, giving him a carrot for a nose and using pebbles for his eyes and mouth. Goldilocks found some sticks to use as the snowman's arms. When they were finished, they all admired their creation. "He's perfect," Goldilocks said with a big smile. Next, they had a snowball fight. Papa Bear was very good at throwing snowballs, but he made sure not to throw them too hard. They ran around, laughing and dodging the snowballs. Goldilocks and Baby Bear teamed up against Papa Bear and Mama Bear. It was so much fun that they didn't notice how much time had passed. As the sun began to set, they decided to head back to the bear's house. They were tired from all the fun they had, but they felt happy and content. Inside the cozy house, Mama Bear made a warm fire in the fireplace. They all sat around the fire, sipping the last of their hot chocolate and talking about their wonderful day. That night, Goldilocks stayed over at the bear's house. Mama Bear prepared a comfortable bed for her in the guest room. Goldilocks was very grateful. "Thank you so much for everything," she said. I had a wonderful time today. You're always welcome here. Goldilocks Mama Bear replied with a warm smile. You're part of our family now. Goldilocks felt very happy and loved. She knew that she had found true friends in the three bears. She fell asleep that night with a smile on her face, dreaming of more adventures with her new family. As the months went by, Goldilocks and the bears continued to have many wonderful times together. They celebrated birthdays, holidays, and special occasions. Goldilocks learned to cook new recipes from Mama Bear, and Papa Bear taught her how to fish in the river. Baby Bear and Goldilocks loved exploring the forest together, discovering new places and making new friends. One spring day, Goldilocks and the bears decided to plant a garden. They wanted to grow their own vegetables and flowers. They chose a sunny spot near the house and started digging the soil. They planted seeds for carrots, tomatoes, lettuce, and many colorful flowers. Goldilocks was very excited to see the garden grow. Every day they took care of the garden together. They watered the plants, pulled out weeds, and watched the seeds sprout into little plants. Goldilocks loved seeing the first green leaves appear. It was amazing to watch the garden change and grow each day. As the plants grew bigger, they started to bear fruit and vegetables. Goldilocks and the bears were very proud of their garden. They harvested the fresh vegetables and used them to cook delicious meals. Mama Bear made a special vegetable soup with the carrots and tomatoes from the garden. It tasted even better knowing that they had grown the vegetables themselves. The flowers in the garden also bloomed beautifully. There were red, yellow, pink, and blue flowers. They made the garden look very colorful and lively. Goldilocks loved picking the flowers and making bouquets to decorate the house. The sweet smell of the flowers filled the air, making everyone feel happy. One summer day, Goldilocks and the bears decided to have a big party to celebrate their friendship and the success of their garden. They invited all their friends from the forest: the squirrels, the rabbits, the deer, and the birds. Everyone was excited to come to the party. Goldilocks and the bears spent the whole day preparing for the party. They cooked a lot of food, including sandwiches, pies, cakes, and cookies. They also made fresh lemonade and iced tea. They decorated the garden with colorful ribbons and balloons. Baby Bear made a big banner that said, "Welcome to our garden party." When the guests arrived, they were amazed by the beautiful garden and the delicious food. They all congratulated Goldilocks and the bears on their hard work. The party was a big success. Everyone ate, played games, and danced to the music. Goldilocks felt very happy to be surrounded by so many friends. As the sun set, Goldilocks and the bears lit up lanterns around the garden. The soft light from the lanterns made the garden look magical. They all sat around a big bonfire, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. Goldilocks loved listening to the stories and sharing her own adventures. That night, as Goldilocks lay in her bed, she thought about how much her life had changed since she met the three bears. She was no longer the curious little girl who wandered into their house uninvited. She had learned so much and had grown to be a kind and thoughtful person. She was grateful for the love and friendship of the bears. The next morning, Goldilocks woke up early. She wanted to do something special for the bears to show her appreciation. She decided to make them breakfast. She went to the kitchen and made a big batch of pancakes just like Mama Bear had taught her. She also made fresh orange juice and set the table with flowers from the garden. When the bears woke up, they were surprised and delighted to see the delicious breakfast that Goldilocks had prepared. "Thank you, Goldilocks. This is wonderful," said Papa Bear with a big smile. You're very welcome, Goldilocks replied. I wanted to do something special for you because you have all been so kind to me. They all sat down together and enjoyed the breakfast. The pancakes were fluffy and delicious, and the orange juice was sweet and refreshing. It was a perfect start to the day. As the years went by, Goldilocks and the bears continued to share many happy moments together. They supported each other through good times and bad, always there to lend a helping hand. Their friendship grew stronger with each passing day. Goldilocks often thought about how lucky she was to have found such wonderful friends. She knew that the bears felt the same way. They were a family, not by blood, but by the bonds of love and friendship that they had formed. One autumn day, as the leaves were turning golden and the air was becoming crisp, Goldilocks and the bears decided to take a trip. They wanted to explore a new part of the forest that they had never visited before. They packed a picnic basket with food and set off on their adventure. They walked through the forest, admiring the beautiful autumn colors. The trees were dressed in shades of red, orange, and yellow. The ground was covered with fallen leaves, which made a crunchy sound as they walked. Goldilocks loved the feeling of the cool breeze on her face and the smell of the fresh forest air. As they walked, they came across a small, sparkling stream. The water was clear and cool. They decided to stop there for their picnic. They spread out a blanket on the grass and sat down to enjoy their meal. They ate sandwiches, fruit and cookies, and drank apple cider. It was a perfect autumn day. After their picnic, they continued their walk. They saw many interesting things in the forest: a family of deer grazing in a meadow, a group of squirrels gathering nuts, and a flock of birds flying south for the winter. They even found a hidden waterfall, which was a beautiful surprise. As the sun began to set, they made their way back home. They were tired from their long walk, but they felt happy and content. They had discovered new places and made new memories together. When they got back home, they lit a fire in the fireplace and sat down to rest. Goldilocks felt a deep sense of gratitude for her friends and the wonderful life they shared. She knew that no matter what adventures lay ahead, they would always have each other. That night, Goldilocks wrote in her journal. She wanted to remember all the special moments she had experienced with the bears. She wrote about their winter picnic, the garden they had planted, the big party they had hosted, and their autumn adventure. She also wrote about the lessons she had learned: the importance of kindness, respect, and friendship. As she finished writing, she looked out the window at the starry sky. She felt a sense of peace and happiness. She knew that she was exactly where she was meant to be, surrounded by love and friendship. Goldilocks and the bears lived happily ever after, their lives filled with joy, adventure, and the warmth of true friendship. They knew that no matter what challenges they faced, they would always have each other to rely on. And so the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears became a cherished tale in the forest, a reminder of the power of kindness and the magic of friendship.